people that are not able to attend live. So again, hello everybody. It's great to be here. Very cozy. We are nine people, and we are here today to discuss offsites. From offsites to results, how to make yours better long after it ends. And it's all about creating consistent change, not only during the offsite, but generally in the team's life. For those of you who do not know us, we are Adam and Larissa. Together we run Make Team Work, and for the last 6 years we facilitated pretty many offsites. Larry, can you change the slide? We have a nice visual representing it. Menti. So yeah, we've been yes, we've been facilitating many offsites, small offsites, big offsites, from 6 to 100 people. Wow. And we have a lot to share today because we see that this topic is super relevant, but also the awareness on how to ensure the long-lasting change with the offsite is pretty mixed. Some people have bigger, some people have smaller, and we are bringing all our experiences here, and we also count on good discussion. And before the good discussion happens, before we start the content, we will be using Menti. So if you have your phone with you, you could right now scan the QR code.
Mm-hmm. I've never done that with the QR code. Usually I just write down the code, see what it is.
And you should lend directly to the presentation.
I got it, yeah. You're all set, waiting for presenter, it says.
Good. If you cannot access the QR code, there's a classic, just open a new tab or on your phone, menti.com, and use the code that you can see on the slides.
Because it says waiting for presenter. I'm all set, but I'm waiting for presenter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I'm not sure what to do.
That's what it,
in a second,
what it should look like.
We will start. Just leave it aside, and let's wait for the right moment, and let's focus here in the main forum. Anybody problems with Menti?
I'm working on it.
Oh, here we go.
All right, agenda for today, we will have a quick intro. Actually, we had already a quick intro. And then we will discuss why offsites fail. Larissa will take us there. And then we will focus on the meat of this webinar, so the system before, during, after. So how to think about your offsites to bring long-lasting success. And then we will open for Q&A. But if you have questions on the go, just raise your hand and ask the question, ask your comment. It's okay.
Exactly. Open the mic. Let's make it a conversation. Yeah. We're a small group. Let's make use of that.
Super. And just a quick forward. Oh, Robin, you have a very nice animal there.
Oh, sorry.
No worries, no worries. It looks awesome. Very cozy. So an offsite, when we say an offsite, for us, an offsite is a structured gathering of people, teams, or leadership held outside the usual workplace. So you stop working on in your usual process, you gather all together, and you have a mission. So offsite is a structural gathering of people. It might be small, it might be big, but overall, this is what we call offsite here. And the first trial of Menti, one word that you associate with offsite. If you were to generally share one word you associate with offsites, what would it be?
I'm having trouble with this, I'm sorry.
You have conversations, strategic work, deep connection, excitement.
Fun is what I would say, but I can't. It doesn't work.
Fun. Okay. Voila.
Oh, you got it. Focus. So this is something interesting about offsite, because the idea of an offsite does not determine what it will be about. It's just this setup that you leave your usual workplace and then you do something. So I think we can see that aspect here based on what's the various associations with an offsite. Good. Let's move forward.
Sure. Okay, and most teams feel aligned during an offsite, and there are some practical reasons for that. Larry, you can change. So, why alignment feels easier at offsites? We speak with people we usually don't. We expand our network of people. We collaborate. We feel less siloed and more united. We step out of routine. Our brains think more flexibly and creatively, not having all these fires to address that we always have in our emails, Slacks, and so on. Compared to the office, offsites usually, during offsites, usually you can experience more relaxed social norms. People show more honesty and humanity. And also leaders behave differently. Often they are more present, less focused on concrete deliveries, more open to listen also to people, and less rushed. So these are the four major points for us why the alignment feels easier at offsites. But then offsites do create a temporary alignment window, but without effective integration, people fall back into old networks, decision patterns, priorities, and siloed execution. Who knows it from live? Raise your hand.
How might we know?
Bashta, go ahead. Or
I think
Vasha,
this, I see it.
Yeah, sorry.
Thank you. Yeah, they can be great, but as we all mentioned, those that introduce themselves, they often fail. And we have reflected, discussed, looked back at the briefs, execution, follow-ups, and we came up with 3 main reasons why they fail. The first one is unrealistic expectations for the time given. And we got quite a few briefs like that. We want to build a culture. We want to become a high-performing team all in one day. And that's just not how it works. So you might run such offsite, you might get people inspired, but it won't move the needle. It won't deliver to your objective if you have many goals and a limited amount of time. The second one is that you gather people and you run these activities that are isolated and not really connected with real work. So you might bring tools and canvas and exercises, and we also bring them and we think they're relevant and key, but we need to understand and link back. How do they embed into your team or your organization operating system? So we introduce a sailboat retrospective. Will we recommend that they use this method once every 3 months? What do they do with the items that they have identified that they need to work on? So if we have these isolated activities, we generate a great energy, but there's no integration and nothing actually changes. And the third, and actually the biggest one, no follow-up is planned. And without a system and really looking at what happens after this event, everything snaps back to the business as usual. And you have this moment, a short-lived boost that does not lead to momentum. And people might also get disengaged because they took the time, they were present, they engaged, they co-created strategy, and they never heard back about it.
Yeah.
So now back to you. And if you still have your Menti open, I see that 7 people do. From these 3 challenges that we identified and mentioned, which resonates most with your offsites? unrealistic expectations, little connection with real work, or lack of post-offsite follow-up.
The third
We
one.
have for now. Mm-hmm.
The
Say
third
again.
one, yeah. The third
Okay.
one,
Mhm. Lack of follow-up. Yeah.
yeah. I call it the
Other
law of
voters.
inertia. Yeah. I
Say
call it the
again.
law of
Law
inertia.
of inertia. Mhm.
Yeah. Everywhere, in physics, everything, you have the pendulum going back and forth, and then it goes less and less, and then it stops. That's how it is. And that's how it is with these events as well, I find.
Yes. Other than these three, is there anything that you, in your practice experience, identified as a key reason for offsites failing? Or actually the days to success, but it does not deliver to the overall goal and strategy?
Sometimes I think people come to these without the expectation that there will be follow through. If
Okay.
that makes sense. So it's sort of like you can sort of come and go through the motions and not really commit to anything internally,
Mhm.
and that to me, I've seen that happen. It's a little disturbing. People aren't necessarily, they don't bring their genuine self. They're not necessarily honest with what
Okay.
they're really, what their real concerns are, or what they're actually willing to commit to, I guess, is what I'm trying to. Took me a long
And
time
why
to
do
say
you
it.
think is that? Maybe they join other offsites and are just like don't believe in them anymore? Do you have any
I think,
hypothesis?
yeah, I do actually. I have a couple of thoughts on that. One, yes, I think sometimes people have had multiple experiences where, like you said, you have a good time and nothing happens, nothing changes. And the other, I think, has to do with culture.
Mhm.
Like if your company isn't a psychologically safe place, you're not going to be able to, the follow-up won't happen anyway. Does that make sense? It's like if everybody's really, siloed and toxic, you can have a great offsite, but as soon as you try to follow up or follow through, there's backlash and politics and so on, and it becomes almost, I guess, dangerous to want to actually change things. So that's kind of one thought.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Yeah, especially if you work in this structure with silos. Usually in workshops, you identify projects that demand cross collaboration. So you intentionally mix groups that have dependencies, and then it's like, okay, or who will own it, and the other parts sometimes don't engage, so don't move forward.
Right.
So we have some people joining. Welcome. So on the other hand, we explored why offsites don't work, but from our experience and perspective, they do work when they're treated not as a single event, but as a part of a system. So let's understand what the system is. There are three phases. How we organize: the before the event itself, during the event, and after. And we have some good practice to share. Adam.
Let's start from the before. Yeah, exactly. Let's start from the before. We have here a few tips, remarks, and some additional material, but let's start from the beginning. Before, so focus on fewer, more meaningful objectives. Decide, if you are limited with time, decide what is the most important, what is the priority of the offsite. Because focus, depth, clarity. So what is your priority? The second.
Okay.
Here we have like Offsite Strategy Canvas, and the second point is here: strategize before. And what do we have in the canvas? I hope it's visible on the size of the screen that you have. So
It's hard to read.
Hard to read.
Yeah, I can't. It's very small for me. Yeah.
There
Can
is
I make it
a a magnifier in the screen
Where's
of
that?
Google Meet. There's 100%, then a magnifier with a plus, or you can try with the pinch if you're
zoom
using a
in if you
trackpad.
can. Yeah. So
We'll
the
also
first
Or
one,
follow up and share. Say again?
if you kind of hover at the bottom of the image, you'll see the magnifying glass here.
Enter full screen. That's a good thing. Let's do that. That's already a little better. And now how do I make zoom? Excellent. Thank you.
yes, we have it. We got it. Okay, so first is the objective of what is the purpose of the canvas? Why are we gathering? And then what we strongly recommend to do before is reflect with the team or with many teams, if this is the case, if this is organizational offsite, on what matters now. So to have the clear idea to list the critical priorities, project decisions, or tensions shaping the organization right now. The second thing is what will matter next. So think about 3 to 9 months after the offsite, what will need to change? What can we see right now? What change can we see right now during the offsite? Then from these projects, you might want to prioritize and reflect which projects need acceleration right now. So you prioritize initiatives or projects that would benefit from co-creation, simply speaking. So resulting in shared ownership, alignment, and faster decision making. But it's in the end, which project here deserve co-creation. And fourth, describe what the success looks like in 90 days and how you will measure it. And we will tap on the KPIs a little bit later and give you some ideas. And also, I'm happy to hear how you measure effectiveness of the offsites. But yes, describe the success. What if it's a behavioral shift? Think about this behavioral shift. What is it? How can you measure it? If this is an application of a new strategy, also make sure that you have KPI measuring it. And next, who must be in the room? So identify the roles or perspectives essential for decisions, alignment, and post-offsite ownership. Some of the projects, it happens very often to us. Some of the projects that are created during the offsite will need a new ownership, and we will look back to this thought. Some of them are already projects that are happening in an organization, and they have owners. So identification of this ownership of the projects that will happen, will continue during offsite is the key, or assigning new owners if the projects are new. And last but not least, I think it's the most important, is post-offsite integration. So how will you keep the momentum alive? How will you follow up on all those great ideas and projects that you've developed during the offsite? And here you might be thinking of rituals, cross-team touch points. Also, you might plan your communication plan. But all in all, these items are necessary to reflect in order to ensure the future success. We are using this Offsite Strategy Canvas. It can be also done, of course, without the canvas, but I think it's easier with canvas. Okay, another after strategizing is partnering with experienced facilitators to design and lead the experience. And here, what we see, we sometimes get briefs already from offsite committees, and we are being engaged just to discuss part of day 2 or part of day 3 of the offsites. But then we need to understand, all the inputs and outputs created by all other parts, and we also quite often take a step back and coach clients on how to approach the entire offsite. So for us, it's always double or even triple work if we are not engaged from the beginning. And
a lot of stress from the client side, because they're not specialists. They're trying to figure out how to run a 3, 4, 5-day event. And they have this is the most important part. So let's hire facilitators and experienced designers. But then how everything fits into place, it's really, they get stressed and tense, and the alignment between people gets messy. So it's really having someone experienced by your side is recommended.
Because otherwise there will be most likely there will be double work happening. You will need to step back and so on. And if you engage facilitators from the beginning, then you can still count on them to shape the entire vision for the offsite. And this might save, because these facilitators might also help with alignment with the event committee, for instance, or event team. So it's great to partner with facilitators from the beginning. Design focusing on producing concrete outputs, not just inspiration. Like we try 80%, and we will get back to this 80% a little bit later as well. 80% of time is invested in creating concrete outputs. These might be outputs that will be taken later on as inputs to another activity, or if not, there might be outputs that already look alike documents or materials that company already uses in their processes. So be as close to, the idea here is that A, produce concrete output, not just discussion, and B, produce outputs that fit the culture. If possible, produce the output that fits your day-to-day life, and this output will be easily taken forward to your daily life. And also, before, ensure continuity between sections. I touched upon that, speaking about inputs, outputs. So what we try to do within one day, we always try to have outputs from one activity filling the inputs of the next activity. So briefly speaking here, how we can create something that will be useful from the offsite. And also plan teams carefully. Like the moment that you reflect on the objectives, reflect on all your projects, then you want to reflect who should work with whom during this offsite. Because expanding networks might give you more perspectives, might increase idea flow, reduce silo, and it's all good. But you will need more time. This is the expense here. You will need more time, because when people work already together, their modus operandi is usually faster than if they just get to know one another. They need some minutes in order to introduce themselves, feel comfortable with each other, and only then they can progress. So this is a balance. But planning these teams carefully is the key for success. And also, I already mentioned this 80% of time, balance structure with white space. In many cases, we rush the timings. We say 5 minutes more, then we close the discussion. And here is the moment of, quite often people come to us and, can you allow a few minutes more? They are solving their problems right now. As we stand here and discuss, they are solving their problems. Can you allow more time? Yes, we can allow more time if we plan for it. So we usually plan for 80% of time. We leave this 20% of time. The worst case scenario, they will go for lunch 15 minutes earlier, or they will still have a coffee, or just informal conversation, or you might just organize spontaneous word cafe with a little bit more sharing. But this is, in our practice, it's very important. Balancing structure and being very rigid about the agenda with white space, leaving people a little bit more space for unstructured discussion. And also choose a location wisely. Research shows that the pleasantness of a meeting room influences its productivity. We are not advocating for renting castles. Here we are advocating for having a room structure that enables people, for instance, to share. Imagine that we had 2 sessions. One was in a big 1,500 square meters rectangle. It was easy access to everybody. Everybody saw the screen, while sometimes we also work in spaces that there is one conference room, another conference room, and 2 additional rooms. And this I mean, this will hinder a little bit of moments when things need to share, when you need to regroup them, okay, when you need to change something, this change will just last longer, it will not go smoothly.
That's it. That's before. Anything that we did not mention that you would think it's critical for before the event?
I just want to mention that
Mm-hmm.
in this process of before,
Mm-hmm.
how when you are working with a stakeholder, with your client. So
Yes.
in the whole process, at least for my experience, you have to co-create with the with your stakeholder, because otherwise, if they are familiar with this kind of team building, so it's perfectly fine. But if they are not, they are like skeptical, and you have to reduce the tension. And when they co-create with you, what will happen? They are more open and they are more embedded to the real experience that they will have. So that's something that I would just highlight, that it depends. You really have to, empathize with your client and understand, to have like this special power to understand what does this person wants.
Yeah, I would say there are different personas. There are also like some clients that you really you understand their context so well and their pains, and you start the design process together really till you feel we cracked it. And then they might give you a lot of space to, okay, based on this, we have clarity. You designed experience, you run, and we will be there participating. But I agree that this partnership has to be very good, and everything that we'll mention now also, like during the session, make things visual, define clear outputs. This is also true in the process of co-creation experience with your stakeholder. So I think, yeah, that's a great point, Mal. Thank you. So now we
Mark
entered
is raising the hand. Am I seeing it?
Just very briefly, I've had pretty good luck with joining instructions. I think if you have a well thought out set of joining instructions, not just logistics, but also agenda, letting people really see what it is we're going to do. It helps to focus them before they come. So there's a power in that, I've learned.
To also set the stage for participants before the day they land as well, right? It's like what to expect, to align expectations. That's a great point. So let's enter preparations, right? What happens during the offsite itself? And here, of course, and many of these points are things that you should align before, but make sure they're executed. Ensure that leadership, if that's the case, if leadership is in the room, they set the tone, clarify why we are here, why is it important, but being aware that it's not, they shouldn't take over. This is the space for everyone to share, to co-create, to really have shared ownership. And there might be clarity on, okay, this leader is the final decision maker, but the process has shared ownership and will be co-created. So they participate like everyone else. They don't use the offsite as a presentation. They show with vulnerability, and they let the facilitator run the process. And also helping people think differently and also work in a different and more interesting, fun way. So a core base of our work and what we believe, especially for these events, is visual work and also structured reflection. So you allow people to design and get this understanding and co-create the strategy also with deeper insights. So using visual tools, encouraging not just discussion, but also reflection, having various space. So I do some solo work, then we share in pairs, and then we share with the whole group, some moments of silence, and really bringing provocative questions or data that make them reflect deeper in the work that they are doing. encourage honest and open conversations. So we as facilitators, we create safety by modeling curiosity, by showing that if we make a mistake, that's part of the process. We are all humans here. Using, for instance, formats that allow everyone to speak. When someone's sharing, make sure to highlight what has not been said or who's not here in the room. So really opening the space for honesty, because what we see is that when we're able to share honestly and actually and see our different perspectives and engage in productive conflict, we go much faster towards alignment and then to commitment. Because as highlighted by Patrick Lencioni, it's not about having my idea executed. I just need my idea to be heard. Another thing that we use a lot and we find very effective is to promote cross-team presentation and feedback. So the teams will be working in their angle, their focus, but who should be giving feedback to whom? And if it's more like a shared learning, how do we plan this board café that there's always someone at the station presenting the work that has been done, and people come by, ask questions, and make provocations towards improvement. That's it that we have for the during. I'm sure there's much more based on such a group of experienced colleagues that we have here. And I invite Adam to take us to the after.
Yes, and we have the part after. So the most significant predictor of offsite success is what happens after the event. Will we follow up on what has been agreed or not? So first, turn co-created plans into projects. Align on who should do what, look back to project owners also, or assign owners of newly developed projects as well. But discussing it happens sometimes in our practice that clients want to leave it for later. They want to finish offsite. They want to finish with this upbeat of emotions. Yeah, we are here together, super. And then we will work on a roadmap, or we will assign ownership after the offsite. No, we see that teams that go for discussion after, 90% of them fail. Teams that run the discussion and leave the offsite already with clear ownership, 90% of them, well, they don't always sustain with all the change they want to move, but they move in the project very fast. The decision making is much faster. There is things happening. Maybe not all the projects are successful, but all of them are continuing. Build rituals and systems that keep the momentum alive. So during the offsite, as we mentioned before, you create behavioral shift. It's a temporary behavioral shift. If you want to sustain it, only rituals and routines make them stick. So you need to think already, if you have a new project, you're already doing the offsite, discuss what will happen after. What is necessary to happen after. And also measure progress. What we usually like, there are different KPIs that we use with clients. These are the major 4 directions of success tracking. So we track, are decisions from the offsite implemented with speed and clarity? Then are the new agreed practices being adopted in life? Are things interacting more across offices/functions, if this is the goal? And also, do people report feeling more aligned and clearer about the shared direction? Of course, in the end, there are business goals and delivery to business goals, but especially this first and second one, are decisions implemented with speed and clarity? This is what we always track. And if there is behavioral change, we also track this behavioral change. But this is, again, use the matrix that fit your current situation, your current context. If you already use some matrix, stick to them. All right.
So that's that's the system. And the offsite will only succeed if all 3 parts work together. They are dependable. Here is a small visual of what's our journey, and it looks much simpler than it is in reality. But just to have the reflection, we get a request, a briefing, a meeting call. We co-design the Offsite Canvas version 1. If we get the proposal approved, then we refine the Canva. We map the decisions and owners of the projects or initiatives that we'll be tackling. We interview them. We map their priorities. We iterate in the proposal. We get critique from the leadership or who's leading the process. Then we create the facilitation plan, design all the canvas, and really make sure that this invite is sent and the expectations are aligned. And this is an example of an agenda of a strategic session. Where are we now as a company organization during day 1? And then all the methods with the inputs and outputs that would lead to answering that question. Where do we want to be? So really thinking about the future. And how do we facilitate all this group to imagine that and to converge into one vision, and then planning how do we get there. And in the process, we should document the progress, the outcomes, and really giving in the planning already, but the guidance on how these decisions will be integrated in their operational system. They might work with OKRs. How are these transferred to OKRs, for instance? And then we mentioned that the after is the most critical. So the follow-ups, what were the outcomes, who are the owners, already schedule, progress review, coaching participants on implementation and on how it will actually integrate with the company operational system. So we did get such a brief in the past. To build a high-performing team overnight. No, it's not possible. And we do share that with clients. But yes, an offsite, if it's well-planned and executed and followed up upon, it can act as a seed for growth. So how are we with time? We don't have much time. But what questions you might have? Bjorn.
Yes, thank you. Just maybe one thing that comes to my mind is that apart from like the hard results you get, what I really do like with an offsite is that you kind of put into a new layer of connection into the people, especially when given you're working in a remote first environment.
Mm-hmm.
That personal connection you have there, like sharing some thoughts over dinner or a bit about your life, is like actually giving you better hints to understand people you're working with and coaching them in a different way sometimes. So what I always feel very helpful is if some time is dedicated to these kind of social activities in there, where just like kind of an add-on. Thank you.
Yeah.
Super. Basha?
Yes, thank you, Adam and Larissa, for this. It was really helpful, especially because I finished an offsite just yesterday. And in fact, today, just before this call, I was like trying to summarize all the outcomes that we managed to get from the offsite. So I'm just looking for your inputs on how do you summarize and sort of send all the outcomes to the client once you're done with an offsite like this. What are your best practices?
Well, it depends a lot on what's the structure of the offsite itself. One example came to mind in which we had a few slides that would guide the teams throughout the process. So we kept just the core aspects of those slides and we added the pictures, and then we also used some tools to digitize what they co-created. So they already had that artifact and with the votes, with the actual vision of what happens next. So this documentation and how it fits the flow and linking back what was the objective and evaluating, did we deliver to the objective? As a facilitator, what's your perspective and what should be done next? I'd invite
and
Adam
one
to
more.
build on that. Yeah.
I have one more, because we often, if for instance it's a strategic session and the organization works with OKRs, we try as the last converging phase, we try them to fill the OKRs card or OKRs board to finish with already artifact that they use.
Right. Yeah.
If there are new projects developed, then we try to make the last activity, prepare all the projects in a format that you normally start project with. So if it's, and this might differ from one organization to another, but what we try to do in the end, we try, if it's possible, we try to already produce during the offsite like this bridge between what has been created to what will be taken forward in organization.
Interesting. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Jeffrey?
So how involved do you all get as outside facilitators in the measurement piece, like in helping them design how they're gonna measure and check in and so on? What does that look like for you all?
So maybe I will leave it first to the forum, and then maybe I will kick us off.
Please.
So Jeffrey, can you say the question again?
Yeah. So you talked about the after and the importance of measuring progress. And my question is, what is your involvement in developing their measurement? How your client's going to measure? Do you get really involved in that, or do you just kind of tell them that's an important thing to do and pat them on the back, say good luck? I mean, how do you kind of make that? How involved do you get in implementing some kind of measuring of progress for your clients?
So I recall 2 major clusters of clients. And with one we fully co-create and we stay with them for a longer period of time, and with them the measurement is pretty obvious. And we have also one-off clients, and with them we always propose, we always discuss, and we most often fail to convince them to track. So
and we also trigger them after a few months, right? How looking back, if the objectives were delivered, and how are they measuring the results? And I think it's linked with the discussion why offsites fail. Not many of them actually do follow up. Everyone loves it. It's great. There's this energy boost, but I think, and it links back on how it was designed in the first place. If you really were able to look, and if they always also open to you, what are the team or the company objectives, and why are we doing this offsite, and how this session will link to your objectives as a team or as a company. So I would say that the before is very much linked with if they will measure or not, if you have already set how are we influencing or what measurements should be out there to validate if we succeeded or not.
There's sort of this is connected with the mindsets of people. Like some people treat the offsite as part of the entire growth organization, and some people approach offsite as one-time thing. We have onsite, it will start, it will finish. So we will see whether people are engaged, what people think about it. Yeah, so there are people who love data, there are people who hate data. But I can say about that, if clients love data, then they will most often come back to us next year, or to work together for a longer period of time. because we also love measuring, tracking results. If we don't track, I'm very unhappy.
Adam especially.
Yeah.
Yes. Mark,
Yes.
you're muted.
Mark, you're muted.
Still. So maybe Bjorn starts while Mark figures out. It should be in the bottom center of your screen, Mark, the microphone.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
There
Yeah.
you go. All right. Okay. No, my experience with these things, and I've had two larger ones in the last year. One was the whole team all together in a beautiful setting, on a lake, going canoeing and sitting by the fire at night. I mean, gorgeous place. And the other was a board meeting with a new board that I hadn't pulled together. And in both cases, I learned you have to make it bite size. What are the next steps? So you have to really, granular down to who's going to do what. And I've learned you need a bird dog. You need someone that's going to chase people. And it shouldn't be somebody terribly high up. Very often an intern can do that, or somebody fairly low, but someone that has the time and the persistence to call people up and say, how are you doing with number 1, 2, 3, and 4? That does work, I found.
Yes, we usually treat regular check-ins like reviews as having this form.
And people don't mind being bothered by a junior level person. They think it's just their job, but they do mind if you, as the facilitator, go on their nerves about it. So those things have helped us with our intuition.
Interesting.
Super.
Thank you for sharing. Bjorn.
Yes, maybe a bit like a more generalizing answer to that, what Geoffrey said is when I try both in an offsite or also in my day-to-day work as a consultant with clients, is to try to adapt my approach to how they actually get forward. So sometimes I nudge them a bit more, sometimes I nudge them a bit less. It's to me, there's not a single answer to that. It's very much, to me, depends on the situation the client is in at that moment. So if they don't come up with some solutions, which I usually prefer them doing it because that sticks more with them, then it's kind of like slowly nudge them towards the right direction, in a sense of like what you might also do or how you could tackle that, or have you thought about this or that. It's also, as a facilitator, super necessary to nudge them sometimes back to stay on track. So it kind of depends on the group a lot, at least to me. Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, and depends on the mandate that we have, right? Sometimes we have a mandate to stay with the team for an extended period of time and run entire change process with them. And then it's obvious that during the check-ins, we have the mandate to ask, hey, how is it going? Show us the progress. These are the milestones. Like, how is it going? What can we do to help you? And there are situations when we don't have a mandate, when we are only hired from one offsite to another, even with the same client. And then in between, I think having such watchdog inside of the organization is key. I totally agree. To motivate everybody to push forward. Cool.
Hey, let's close it up. Yeah, if you want to share one learning, you can share with the mic. We can write down. And thank you so much. We will follow up with the link to the Offsite Canvas, if you would like that. And if you want to also be part of our newsletter, we started writing in Substack some reflections. There's a good one about offsite. And we're planning to run more events if you would be interested. So
how do we sign up, Larissa? How do we sign up for that?
I will send the link.
Please do. Yeah.
Thanks for asking. Thank you, Bjorn. So
Thank you,
here's
Bjorn.
the soup stack. And if you registered to this event, you should be already be registered to our calendar in Luma.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yes, so both links are in the chat. So we have not one off event, a robust before stage continuity. That's awesome.
Super. Thank you so much.
Thank
Great
you,
being
guys.
with you all.
Let's
Thank
stay
you
in
for the
touch.
participation.
Thank you.
as
Good
well.
session. Much appreciated.
Thank you. I'm curious about who's C if you want to let us know, but I hope you enjoyed as well.
All right.
Cheers. Have a good one.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks, y'all.
Bye, C.